everybody. Welcome to Diamond Niners Weekly for week 5 of the 2023 season. It is a Monday night, and we're talking Charlotte 49ers baseball. I'm Nick, joined as always by Kevin.
What's up, Niner Nation?
Producer Brad, making it all go.
Hey.
And Coach Woody. What's up, Coach Woody?
Hey, everybody.
Man, Coach Woody, you are at the Hayes, and it looks like you got some new threads on, man. That is one slick-looking Nike baseball shirt.
Oh yeah, the Coach Simmons, he does a lot of our staff gearing, and he doesn't mess around. So we're pulling out the green stripe today for the big week 5 podcast here.
I love it, man. I mean, Coach Simmons is a stylish guy, so no one should be surprised about that at all.
I need some of those cowboy boots he rocks. Those are the best.
You know, he does. I've never actually owned a pair of cowboy boots, but everybody that I know says they are like the most comfortable things you can have. I feel like if I lived in Texas, this would be a good conversation for Toby. I feel like if I lived in Texas, I would rock the cowboy boots and the cowboy hat and the whole thing. I'd have to be in Texas though.
That's pretty surprising to me that you don't have a pair of cowboy boots. I would have picked you for rocking some.
I got some work boots, but Kevin, you ever owned a pair of cowboy boots?
I did when I was a little kid. I had some cowboy boots for sure. But
now hold on. Now I had those. Okay, I had those. You're right. When I was about 5, in fact, I think I still have them in storage around here somewhere.
I sent us way off topic. Way off.
No, Woody, the topic is whatever we say the topic is. If we want to do an hour on cowboy boots, anybody that doesn't like it can just tune out. But luckily for them, we don't feel like doing an hour on cowboy boots. But still, all right. Let's get into this. Let's get into this week of baseball. We're finally back on schedule now. We had to move some things around last week. One, the Wednesday game, and 2, you were a big time radio star last Monday night on the coaches show. So we did a show on Thursday. We got to talk about the Wednesday night game in Kannapolis. So that leaves us with the Old Dominion series from this weekend. Really kind of the weather intervened. We only got 2 of the 3 games in, but let's just start with my goodness. Let's just start where everybody wants to start on Friday night with who I think we can now call Wyatt freaking Hootapole.
Yeah, yeah. Wyatt was, that might be the best pitching performance I've seen as a coach. I've been, I think in 2017, I coached Gianluca Derlatri, who I haven't looked up. I want to say he went 8 innings and punched out 15 or 15. But that was against a Radford lineup that wasn't quite the Old Dominion lineup that Wyatt rolled through. I think it was like a 2-hour and 17-minute game, and we all actually got to make it over to the softball game to see them wrap up a win before, which is crazy. That never happens. Just when our games start at the same time for us to be able to get over there. Usually we're looking up and seeing them at the back end of our game. So just really incredible. Really was on from the first pitch of the game and never wavered. I mean, it was from pitch 1 to pitch 108, he was dialed in. And he had actually had an outing like that 2 or 3 weeks before opening day for 3 innings where I think he punched out 8 or 9 of our hitters. And so he had flashed that type of ability probably 7 or 8 weeks ago, 6 or 7 weeks ago. And we said as a coaching staff, like from that outing, like that's what a big leaguer looks like when he comes in and faces a college lineup. And that's truthfully, that outing catapulted him, to the front of the line as far as, being our opening day starter, which he went, 5 strong and put us in a position to win against Ball State, where we ultimately dropped 2-1, but gave us a great start. And every single start up until this past Friday, he's put us in a position to win. And then finally, he kind of just took matters into his own hands, I feel like, and just did. And like I said, just had really a kind of a start of a lifetime. And certainly, from a team standpoint, it was a huge lift for our entire team. And, really made national waves as far as just drawing attention to Wyatt, which is well deserved, and the program, which is well deserved. So special night, one I'll certainly never forget.
Yeah, real quick on his line, Wyatt's line: 9 innings pitched, 5 hits, scattered 2 solo homers, 0 walks, 17 Ks, 0 wild pitches, 0 HBPs. He faced 32 batters and struck out 17 of them. With 108 pitches, that's a phenomenal line. And going opposite of a freshman All-American from last year with Old Dominion. I think he shined. It was his show on Friday night. He definitely shined through ahead of that All-American from Old Dominion. Our offense really took it to Blake Morgan in the first few innings. Scored 8 runs off of him as well. Talk a little about the other side of the ball with the offensive explosion in that game.
Yeah, I thought our hitters were very well prepared for, like you mentioned, a very talented and pitcher with a track record in Blake. And, it's just kind of one of those things where I really feel like he pitched a great game, outside of the fact that, there was a handful of mistakes, and I give our hitters a lot of credit. And when those mistakes were made, that they put good swings on them and they didn't take them, or they didn't foul them off, or hit them right at to somebody, because that kind of happened a little bit the previous Wednesday night. We hit a lot of balls right at guys, but I give our hitters a lot of credit. I mean, they work extremely hard on a daily basis, and they had a great game plan, and they did a great job of hitting the mistakes that they were given. And, we're going to look up at the end of the year, and Blake Morgan's going to have a ton of wins and a low ERA and that sort of thing. So, just a confidence booster all around, I think, for our offense, which I think everybody knows that, we can have a pretty formidable offense when it's firing on all cylinders. So it was great to see that first game of the series.
From the time he arrived on campus, the word that I've used multiple times to describe Cam Fisher at the plate is violence. And that's what we got again on Friday night, was absolute violence towards baseballs.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what baseballs did to this man, but he is pissed. And I'm pretty sure we know where one of those landed. Kevin will tell us about that. We know where one of those landed. I'm not sure if the other one ever did land. I don't know where it went, but Cam is swinging a bat right now, Coach.
Yeah, no, I mean, he's up there at the top of our lineup. Don't matter lefty, righty. He is up there, and every time he's walking up to the plate, it's a good feeling. So I thought, I thought game 1 he was dialed in, and I thought game 2 he was dialed in too. He, it is what it is. Like, every once in a while you run into a strike zone that is wider than it should be, and it's really tough for us to ask Cam to go out there and cover those pitches out there. So I'm kind of not afraid to say that, just kind of one of those days, unfortunately, in game 2 where, he got rung up on some pitches that he should have gotten rewarded for. But that's baseball. Tomorrow's a new day. And, I think Cam's awareness of the strike zone and understanding that when pitchers have to beat him out over the plate, then he can really do some damage. So he's dialed in right now. It's fun to watch.
Yeah,
Kevin, why don't you tell the story about the one home run, and then I'll just completely tell on myself after that.
Well, hold on one second. I'm kind of jumping around here. I know. I don't want to get off Wyatt Hudapole real quick. I'd like to talk a little bit more about him first, if you don't mind.
No, absolutely not.
It was my fault. I brought up. I switched to the offense too soon. But Coach, talk a little bit about Wyatt Hudapole and his recruitment process. He was in the portal from Kentucky, a Cincinnati area guy. Talk a little bit about his recruitment process and how he's how he's been on campus since becoming a Niner.
Well, long story short, he could be playing for the team that we play tomorrow night, because I flew up to Cincinnati in the spring of 2019 to see a young Wyatt Hudapole pitch at St. X High School in Cincinnati, Ohio, and I thought he was awesome. Then when I flew up to see him, three-sport athlete, makeup, competitor, work ethic, could really spin it. Loved just kind of the delivery and the arm action and everything. I was in. Came down to UNC and visited with his dad, and he ended up going to Kentucky out of high school. I believe he dated a girl that went there, and the pitching coach, Jim Bellinger, was standing right next to me at the outing I was at. He actually threw in a gym because it was snowing outside, and he ended up going to Kentucky and playing for Coach Bellinger. And I think he went there and then was there for 2 years. And Coach Bellinger ended up going to Florida State, so that he left. And then so there wasn't some there was a little bit of a lack of continuity there, I think, at Kentucky. And he went in the transfer portal, like you mentioned, this past summer. As soon as I saw his name, we reached out to him, because I remembered him from high school, and I just thought he could really help us. And so our whole coaching staff really went kind of full court press recruiting him, and even had a little bit of help from Spencer Geesting, who's Cincinnati native, and he and there's a facility up in Cincinnati. I think it's Alpha Baseball. I think he and Spencer both trained at together. And so Spence thankfully said nothing but great things about our program, and there was a connection there. And Wyatt went up to go pitch for the Wareham Gatemen in the Cape Cod League, and we followed him up there. We were actually supposed to see him pitch up there when Coach Bick and I flew up to go see some of our guys play. But actually, as we landed in Boston, Wyatt texted me that he came in and pitched 2 innings in a game that he wasn't supposed to pitch in because they needed him to. So unfortunately, I didn't even get to see him pitch up there in the Cape. But I had seen enough video, and I'd seen him in high school, and just knew that we really wanted him to come to Charlotte. I thought the potential was through the roof, and already knew the makeup and the type of person he was, and the work ethic. And so, we recruited him for 4 or 5 weeks in the summer, and he really took his time and gave it a lot of thought and visited other schools. And ultimately he called me one day, and I remember he and I were actually talking about it. He said, Coach, and he did it the right way. He said, Coach, I just want to know, am I going to have an opportunity to be a starting pitcher? And I said, absolutely. I think you can do it. And he said, well, if that's the case, I'm coming to Charlotte. And so, and I didn't know he was getting ready to commit right there. So that fired me up. And then so, here we are, through the fall and the preseason, to his credit, he's put his head down and he's been on a mission, and, hard work pays off. We talk about that in our program all the time, and just couldn't be happier for him, because he is one of, if not our hardest workers on our entire team, and one of the first ones at the stadium every day. And, when he's not in there pitching, he's gotten pulled from a couple outings that I know he was frustrated with, and he's up there on the top rail pulling for guys, and just the best teammate. And so I said long story short, but I think I gave the long story anyways. So, but I wanted to tell it just because
short story long.
Yeah, I wanted to tell the story though, just because, it's a really great story, and it's still being written. And, I know that this past weekend wasn't a flash in the pan, and it wasn't a fluke. Wyatt Hudapole is a really good pitcher, and he's a really good pitcher because of, who he is as a person.
Yeah, he had some nasty stuff on Friday night for sure. It looked, from my angle, it was really nasty stuff. I don't know how some balls that looked like they were going to be up in the zone ended up right down the middle. But yeah, he was on point on Friday night. I haven't seen a performance like that in a while.
Yeah, it's pretty rare what he did.
So Kevin, do you want to tell your Cam Fisher story now?
Yeah, let's do it. I'm sorry.
I just want to make sure you're ready.
I didn't want to slight Wyatt Hootapole because we kind of shifted pretty quick. But yeah. Kind of a fun story from Friday night. This is an 11-year-old's account of the night. So Cam Fisher's up at bat. He's already had one homer. He hits a deep foul ball. My son goes and chases the foul ball on the grass hill at the Hayes, and so he's standing there when Cam hits the second homer of the day. Now he says he saw the ball go over Phillips Road, hit a storm drain, bounce up in the air, land in the road, and roll into the storm drain. So after the game ended so quickly, like what he said, we were walking over to see softball, and he said, "Dad, that's where Cam Fisher's home run ball went. It ended that storm drain. Can I go look in there and get it?" I said, "I doubt it's there, but yeah, you can go get it. You can go get it." Sure enough, he goes over there, reaches his hand down, pulls up the baseball, Pearl, and comes running back and so excited. He wants to go talk to Cam Fisher and get him to sign the ball. So Ethan was there. He gave him a pen, and my boys, there's a picture of him there. Boys went up to Cam. Cam was thanked him for coming out, and he signed the ball. And he took the picture there. So and he's been talking about it for days. And actually, yeah, here's the ball. He let me borrow the ball for the show today. So there you go. There's Cam's autograph on the Conference USA baseball. I think that's where it hit the storm drain. So by the time he got to practice the next day, it was a 500-foot shot that he ran down and caught. So from Cam Fisher. So probably going to only grow from there. And very appreciative of Cam spending some time with them after the game. It was pretty cool moment to see. And it's surely fun watching him hit the balls. That's for sure.
Now I'm going to tell a story. And it's not heartwarming, not at all. It's the opposite of what Kevin just told. So I wasn't at the Hayes on the Friday night. I didn't see that home run. I didn't see a strikeout. I didn't see a freaking thing. So I have a nephew whose birthday falls on March 10th, Andrew. Andrew's my guy. And last year, his birthday party fell on the Sunday of the App State game. And I had plenty of time. I was going to go to the game, see that game, and then go to my nephew's birthday party. No problem. I brought the present with me to the Hayes and left it in the truck, the whole thing. Well, if you remember that game went, how many innings did it go? Was it 15? I think
it's the longest in school history. It
ended up being the longest game time-wise in school history. And I couldn't walk away. Now we end up, by the way, Mr. Umpire, wherever you are, that was still not catcher interference. So screw you. We get robbed of that game. By the time I get to my nephew, everyone is gone. The cake has been put away. I give him his birthday present, spend a few minutes with him, and I leave there feeling like the biggest heel, jerk, terrible uncle, not getting Uncle of the Year award for that. Okay, that was last year. Now, fast forward to this year. His birthday party was on Friday night. And I'm like, oh, okay, so the game could last a while. Okay, game should last a while. I'll go to the party, and then I'll scoot over there. I'll probably see like the last 3 innings of the game. Well, I go to the party, give him my present, eat a little bit of cake, all that. There's a point in time where I can maybe get out the door, and I'm following it on Twitter, and like Wyatt is just like, well, y'all know, he was just carving everybody up. And as we have said 100 times, maybe more on this show, we're not superstitious, but we're a little stitious. And I said, I'm not leaving. I'm not going over there. I'm not going anywhere. I'm staying right here. And the game went so fast anyway. I mean, we talked to Ashley on the softball show about, how many times is the baseball game, if they started at the same time, when's the last time a baseball game ended before the softball game did? She said never. So anyway, this ends up being, and I don't know, we've had this conversation. It's, there's a lot of recency bias going around out there. I mean, I don't know. We'd have to really sit down and think about where that performance ranks. It's certainly first all time in strikeouts, obviously, new school record. But after over 50 years of Niner baseball, Wyatt Hoodlepole delivered, let's just conservatively say, a top 10 performance in program history, maybe even top 5. And I wasn't there. And Kevin says, I probably can't come back. So, we've already retired from first pitches, right? We already did that earlier this year. And so now, I mean, I don't know. I don't even know where I'm at, Kevin. I don't know where my status is at as far as like maybe even coming back to the Hayes, because apparently when I'm not there, really awesome stuff happens. And I'm cool with that. I'm cool with that.
Well, I think the program needs you, Nick. I don't know I don't know where we'd be without you, Nick. So all that talk is just shit talk, man.
Man. I don't know.
Coach, what do you think? What do you think?
I think we need him.
Look, I said this. I've been saying this a whole time. If I'm the deal, if I'm the problem, I'll stay at home and watch on TV because I'd rather see 17 strikeouts on TV than anything else in person. I mean, I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there. I feel like the audience is going to side with me and probably say you can't come back.
There's probably a lot of people watching that are saying you can't come back, but I'm going to say we need you.
Yeah, I agree. We need you, man. It's not easy doing those Twitter updates, man, especially when guys are carving people up left and right.
Kevin was doing the Twitter, Woody, and he texted me and he said that Wyatt's carving these guys up so fast, I can't even get the last inning out before they're already back in the dugout. I'm still trying to type. So, yeah, okay. I'll come back, fine, whatever. But don't blame me, okay? I'm on record. I'm willing to step aside here for the good of the program, but I don't know. Maybe we'll get back on the right track, and I'll be there, and it'll fix everything, right? So
that's right.
Okay. All right. So the next day, Coach, I know, and let's just talk weather strategy, I guess, because the Sunday, and you guys were so right. The weather on Sunday, you said when we talked to you last Thursday, you said, yeah, we're kind of watching Sunday. It might not be too good. You were so right. It ended up yesterday was just not a day for baseball. And you guys as between you and Old Dominion staff, you guys had some conversations and ultimately just decided to go with the one game on Saturday. And then it ended up that ended up being a split of the series.
Right. Yeah, no, I mean, it's a non-conference series, and Coach Finwood and both of our staffs look, we've played each other how many times the last 3 years? I mean,
100.
We've split. We've pretty much split it right down the middle. For the last 3 years. So we've got such great respect for for one another's programs. And yeah, talking with him on Thursday, they had already played, I think, at least 2 double headers, maybe even 3. I think they might have already played 3 double headers in the season. And, they expressed to us that, look, we've already played either 2 or 3 double headers, and we've had guys that couldn't go the next game or the next, midweek game because, they're banged up or dinged up from 14 or 18 innings of baseball. That's the side of it that, look, if it's a conference series, and we both said it, look, if it's a conference series, we would have played 9 on Friday and 2 9s on Saturday. neither one of us, I don't love 7-inning baseball games. I think everybody, knows that a lot can happen in the 8th and 9th inning. For two programs that we feel like, are strong and want to be, are going to be in contention for postseason play, like we really didn't want to settle it over seven inning games. But we also didn't want to put our student athletes on the field for 7.5 to 8 hours the week we were both going into conference play. So, neither one of them really felt right. And so we just said, look, let's play straight up baseball on Friday and straight up baseball on Saturday. And, if we get a break and they're a window, we get a 3 or 4 hour window on Sunday, then we were going to go. Both teams were ready and it just didn't happen. So, we've got a lot of season left. We're only a quarter of the way through this thing. And so we can either we can either play another 9-inning game with them later in the season or pick up another 9-inning game with another opponent. We just want to try to avoid 7-inning games. And, with our roster and with both rosters, we're trying to get healthier going into conference play. It didn't make sense. So I think we made the right call. And, we had our day on Friday and they had their day on Saturday. That's how it goes.
If you look at, and you said this coming in, you said this last Thursday that these two teams and two programs were mirror images of one another. And they didn't have anybody do what Wyatt did, but in the abstract sense, if you look at the two games, they're almost mirror images of one another in terms of what we did to them on Friday and what they were in turn able to do to us on Saturday. The two games look very, very similar.
Yeah. And Armstrong for them, he gave us fits last year. So we knew that we needed to go get, that first game because Armstrong had been tough against us both at their place and in conference, the conference tournament last year. And he's going to be a pro. He's going to get drafted and have a chance to play. And he was really good against us. And, I think people were at the game. So usually when I'm on the field that much, then, one, I don't enjoy it, but two, it's not going great. So I was on the field more than I wanted to on Saturday. And, but when I feel like that, when rules are rules and they should be enforced and strike zones are strike zones and they should be consistent, so sometimes I have to say things to our players, don't have to. That's just part of it. But that was kind of Saturday.
So I overheard some discussion. Did the umpire disagree with our bunt defense setup?
Yeah, so in my opinion, there was a misinterpretation of the rule on his end because you're allowed to call. It says in the updated 20-second pitch clock ruling that the catcher is allowed to call time, which he was awarded time. He's allowed to call time and step in front of home plate and from a distance put on a defensive signal, without verbal communication to the pitcher for what to throw or any strategy. Like you're allowed to put on defensive signals in front of home plate as many times as you want and not be charged a defensive trip. And I've consulted with other head coaches on this already since the game. And, it's just one of those things like, you're at the mercy of kind of how rules are interpreted at times. And, for whatever reason, our plate umpire that day decided to not allow us to put on a bunt defense. We're going to put on a bunt defense with runners on first and second and less than 2 outs. And when a pitch is thrown and whether it's a ball or a strike or the hitter bunts or doesn't bunt, the situation changes. So we might need to change our bunt defense pitch to pitch. And the rule states that you're allowed to do that. And there's no penalty or limit to how many times you can do that per at bat. So that's what the point I was trying to get across. It was not well taken. So we were charged a defensive trip. And, it just kind of is what it is. It didn't impact the game or anything along those lines. But, when you follow that up with, we had a strikeout to a 3-2 strikeout with one out, and a left-handed hitter walks across the plate when Caden's trying to make a throw, and that obstructs the throw, and by rule that should be catcher interference, and that should end the inning. And then the next hitter gets a hit to drive in a run. That can be a little frustrating, as I think people watching this, But look, I mean, ultimately that's that's part of the game, and I think that umpire crew is a really good crew. It's just we just kind of disagreed on a couple of those things, and that just happens sometimes. But I'm always gonna fight for our guys and for our team when I feel like, so that, again, like I said, so our guys can just play and they don't have to worry about that stuff. That's part of my job.
So let's start taking a look at the week ahead. Before we do that, we wanted to remind everybody, coming up, we talked to you about this on Thursday, but we want to remind everybody that that if you want to order some of the really awesome Charlotte baseball gear from the guys at One Campus, onecampusco.com, those orders close on March 24th. So just a reminder about that if you're looking to get any of that gear. Got lots of good comments on the baseball gear out at the stadium this weekend, so you might want to look into that. All right, so coming up tomorrow, Tuesday night, I know you guys have already made a schedule adjustment based on the weather, but the 18th ranked Tar Heels are coming into the Hayes tomorrow night. I think game notes just came out here a short time ago. Sounds like Andrew Spolyar is going on the mound, and should be a fun night at the Hayes, Coach.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think it's the first time in maybe 10, 11, 12 years that the Heels have been at the Hayes, and I was a part of that last matchup as a young volunteer assistant coach, and even the matchup before that, I think a year or two prior, I had just gotten done with my professional career. I'd actually gotten released by the Padres in 2010 when they matched up here, and I was recently out of playing. I hadn't even started my coaching career, and I came to the matchup here and saw how packed both of those two games were, and got to see from a fan perspective. So it'd be really cool to match up here again tomorrow night with Coach Forbes and staff I'm very close with, and even some players on that staff that I helped recruit. But we've split kind of with those guys the last 2 years, and we've always had really good games. So I think temps are going to be a little bit cooler, but it should be it's standing room only seating tomorrow night, and should be a great crowd. I know we've got the first 300 students are going to get t-shirts, and they're going to have hot chocolate for everybody and food cart, and so it's going to be a great atmosphere. Something I think everybody in the program has been looking forward to, and the Heels they have a really good team this year, and should be a great night.
Yeah, Coach, you mentioned in the last matchup at the Hayes 2011, Tar Heels were number 6 in the country, and Charlotte ended up winning that game 4-3. Great game, midweek game back in 2011. That team went on to go to a regional. That team went on to go on to a regional also, the Charlotte team.
Mm-hmm.
So we're looking forward to a similar game, similar type result as well tomorrow night.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, no, I remember being in the third base dugout for like I said, my first year as a volunteer assistant coach, and yeah, the Niners went to a regional that year, and that team that got beat, I was a part of 4-3. We went to the College World Series that year. So both teams went on to have success, and these games are a lot of fun. It's just yeah, like I said, I've been to the 2011 and the 2010 game as a spectator, and pretty funny too because Coach Simmons' office, right to my right, used to be the visitors' radio booth, and I actually came up as a recently, released San Diego Padre minor leaguer, and former UNC player. I came up here with the visiting radio, and I think for like an inning or two, did a little bit with them, and so it's like it's funny just being up here now that this is our offices, and that was, I don't know, what, 12, 13 years ago. Time flies.
Life comes at you fast.
That's right.
If you don't stop and look around once in a while, you could miss it.
Yep.
Looked up the weather at first pitch, 6 p.m. tomorrow night, 47 degrees. And then it goes down from there, 38 by 9 p.m. So there'll be a big crowd. Plan on bringing some layers and try and stay warm. It's going to be a chilly night at the Hayes, Kevin. Yeah,
it is. But it's gonna be packed. It's gonna be exciting. Adrenaline's gonna be pumping, so hopefully that'll keep everybody warm. Coach mentioned the Tar Heels come in at 6-0 on the midweek this season. They are coming off a series loss to Virginia, number 10 Virginia, this past weekend. So definitely both teams have played really good competition leading up to this point, and should be a good matchup.
Yeah, Coach. So get this. For the last time, okay, this is the last time I ever have to say this. Coming up this weekend, you open up Conference USA play. Last time I ever have to say that, because next year we'll be talking about the American. So we got that to look forward to. However, we got a little unfinished business in Conference USA this year. Starting Friday, you guys are headed to Ruston, Louisiana, for a 3-game series this weekend. So, not sure how much you've had a chance to dive into Louisiana Tech. However, talking about familiarity, we've been up against these guys a lot. So, I know you've got some thoughts on Louisiana Tech. Yeah,
I mean, they were our last. We finished our conference series with them last year, so it's kind of like almost like bookended a little bit. Finished with them last year, start with them this year, and so Lane Burroughs, their head coach, is he's a good friend. We've just gotten to really know each other over the years with our matchups, and just have a lot of respect for one another, just on kind of their brand, and they're very respectful of our brand of baseball and kind of how we both go about it. And we both recruit a lot of transfers and junior college players. So, there's a little bit of kind of crossover on some recruiting fronts, but it's going to be a great atmosphere down there at I think they call it the Love Shack, and got renovated after the previous stadium had gotten hit by a tornado in 2021, and they really did a fantastic job just with the playing surface and the amenities and the fans, the fan kind of experience there. It's built for a really great college baseball environment. So, I think the temperatures are going to be a little bit cooler there too, but it'll be packed, and it'll be a great environment for our guys to go in there and get conference play started off. So they've got a really good lineup. They're just coming off of a series against Arkansas, and I know that didn't go their way, but that can kind of happen at Arkansas. It's certainly a heck of a program, and they're battle tested like we are. So it'll be a good challenge. They've got a really good lineup. There'll be a lot of left-handed hitters in the lineup, and they always pitch it really well. So, Other than that, I've been kind of zeroed in on the Heels since we got them tomorrow night, and we did a lot of self scouting today as a coaching staff. We do that. We're about we're quarter way through the season, so. Kind of quarter away, halfway, and then 3/4 of the way, we kind of self-scout and spend a lot of time and effort and energy on, looking into kind of video and data on our own players and our own team, and try to identify areas that we can continue to do well and areas to improve, and give our players feedback so that, we can make some adjustments. So we did a lot of that today. So kind of excited to with some of the things that we've kind of sunk our teeth into to implement tomorrow night and this weekend and moving forward.
Yeah, Kevin. No one watching this show need to be reminded who Coach Burrows is at Louisiana Tech, but they got some run. He got some run this year for his comments after the game with Ole Miss, where the weather rolled in. They didn't put a tarp on the field and ended up getting they get a tie or a win out of that.
No,
they lost.
See, they beat them the night before, and then the 7th they reverted
back and they lost.
They
took the lead. They took the lead in the 6th, and then it reverted back to the 5th, and they lost.
Yeah. You know what? I respected so much Coach Burrows there for just like saying what he thought about it. I loved it. You know, there was genuine disagreement about whether or not that's actually what happened or not. But as a fan, I don't care. I love the fact that he said what was on his mind right there, right? And if you're a Louisiana Tech fan, that's exactly what's on your mind too. And there's your coach saying it. I respect the heck out of that. That was awesome.
Yeah, I mean, Coach Burrows is a heck of a coach, and just like myself here at Charlotte, like it's any coach, like your number one responsibility is your players and your program first and foremost, and so. That's he's just looking out for his guys and Ole Miss is certainly their defending national champion and they've got a first class program. I'm friends with those guys as well, so I'm staying the heck out of it. But it's just one of those things, but we do. I was talking to another coach about this and how, because I'm always just trying to learn and make sure that, if crazy situations occur, that I've got some type of experience. And, when at the plate meeting, there's usually a drop in like, hey, do you guys play again? If not, like halted game, like, will it be resumed? Or, that gets discussed at the plate meeting. I mean, there's some, so as soon as you say no, like, this is it, like straight baseball and, weather rolls in or something happens, like it's just kind of in the rule book. And like, I know up the road, the lights went out at UNC last week against Penn State, and they had the lead. And like when the lights went out and the lights couldn't come back on, and they had said that at the plate meeting that's the last day they're playing, and there's, it can't be made up at a later date. Like they're not allowed to, like the umpires call the game by rule. So once that's said at the plate meeting, then it kind of is what it is.
So I missed that one. What happened when the lights went out?
What do you mean?
What was the game situation when the lights went out?
Oh, I'm not sure exactly. I want to say it was like the 6th inning, and UNC was playing Penn State, and they had like a fuse break or something. They couldn't get the lights back on, so they called the game, and the Heels were ahead, so they got the win.
So Coach, I'm picturing Nick at the Bosch watching the Niners play Chapel Hill, and something like that happens. Can you imagine Nick McIntyre's reaction to that? I mean, that's like an implosion waiting to happen right there for Nick.
Yeah.
There would be an episode of this show with nothing but just me.
Let's hope that never happens.
Yeah,
it'd just be me for a whole, as long as I wanted to go.
We'll bring fuses with us next time if we go there. Just in case.
No, I did. I got a pocket full of fuses. They're from my truck, but I threw them around.
Just in case.
It'd be me and producer Brad, and producer Brad would be here just to hit the beep button.
All right. Now, I think we've tried to write it back in.
Stuff you don't get in the box score, right?
That's right. La Tech they are playing 2 midweek games. They're hosting Air Force Tuesday and Wednesday before we get down there. So they've got plenty of games this week. before we get down there. So when you guys heading out Thursday, Coach?
We are, yeah. We've got an 11:40 flight Thursday. We fly into Dallas, and then we're actually going to bus from Dallas to Ruston. So, got to think Coach Bick's on. He'll have some good movies teed up, and yeah, we'll be good. It'll be some good team bonding on the way there to Ruston.
Yeah, last trip to Ruston. That's gonna be bittersweet. I'm guessing.
Mostly sweet.
Yeah, that's the plan.
Coach, one final topic, and then we're gonna get you out of here and let you get some rest before big day tomorrow. So I kind of forgot I want to talk about this, but you reminded me. We have been the baseball account, and we've picked up on it too. We try to tag all of our tweets, particularly in-game tweets, with the 9ATC hashtag. And some conversations sprung up online this week, and Kevin knows what I'm talking about. And I actually went back. You have explained 9ATC on this show. In fact, you did it back in 2020. I was thinking that it was maybe in our first ever show we did together. I went back and listened to that show from February of 2020 this week. First of all, Coach, we all sound a lot younger 3 years ago. I don't know what happened, but we all sound a lot younger 3 years ago. But it actually was not in that show. And I was about to start looking through some other shows to try to find it when I thought, you know what? If people are out there, because it's been shortened to 9ATC, and if people are seeing that and they're thinking, well, I don't quite know what that is. Why don't you just remind everybody, Coach, where did the 9ATC come from? Let's get that on video and record it again.
Sure. Yeah, no, I mean, I remember like it was yesterday. I was driving from Chapel Hill to Charlotte. I had already taken the job, and I think I'd been here for like a week, and I was driving back to Charlotte with my second load of, moving truck brought everything, but then you know how it is when you move, there's like all these little things that you don't want to put in the moving truck. So you put them in, I put them in my car, and my car is packed, like literally like stuff's like all up, like right up on me when I'm driving, it's like one of those moves. And, so I'm driving, it's like driving from Chapel Hill to Charlotte, and it's probably like 12:30 in the morning or so, like getting close to 1 o'clock. And, I think any coach, whether no matter the sport or anything like that, I think when you get to a new place, I think you have a vision for, really how you want things to look and feel within and around the program. At least that's kind of how I've always been. And, so I'm thinking about, I followed, Coach Hibbs and Coach Gary Robinson, and the Charlotte program for, really 30 years, growing up in Charlotte. My family moved here in 1989. So I think Coach Hibbs got here in the early 90s, around 92, 93, 94. And, so I've gotten to see the Charlotte program, really grow and progress. And, as a young amateur, and then a college player, as an opponent, and then as a professional player, and then as a coach from 2011 to 2019 at other places. And basically what I wanted, what I was really thinking about is like, it was important to me that, we build upon the foundation that was already in place, but then expound upon it from the standpoint that, I felt like I grew up in Southeast Charlotte, and I felt like, I feel like growing up down there, we didn't hear enough about this baseball program and how great it is, and for whatever reason. And so, I really, and as I was driving, I was having this thought, and all of a sudden I kind of turned the corner when you're on, either 85 or 77, and you see the Charlotte skyline. And I had the thought to myself that that's what we're going to play for. And it kind of hit me like, that's what we have to play for. We have to play for the entire city. We can't just play for, the university and the mascot and the school. I mean, you play for all those things no matter where you are. But to me, it was just really important in coming home that we played a brand of baseball that the entire city of Charlotte would be proud of. And so, and with that, it was, you always hear it's about the name on the front of the chest and not the back. And so, I was thinking about kind of that thought. And so I pulled over and I wrote up an iNote, I think the first thing I said was, we want to play for something bigger than ourselves. And then we want to play for this. We want to play for this city. We want to play for the city. We want to play a brand of baseball that makes the entire city, not just the school, proud. And then from that stemmed like the city of Charlotte. I think I just wrote Charlotte. And then looking at Charlotte, I noticed that there was 9 letters for the city of Charlotte. And then that's where it kind of hit me that, internally as a program, we want to play for the 9 across the chest because the city of Charlotte is going to be on the front of our jersey and not the back. And so, okay, what does that mean? What does it stand for? And so I took some time and I, with the help of Coach Bick and our coaching staff at the time, that was our original coaching staff, we really kind of brainstormed and we talked about different different words that were a part of that spelled the city of Charlotte. And, so we can really like not something that maybe externally would look good or sound good, but really something internally that we could instill in our players and our support staff and our coaches and try to build upon. And so, we came up with the words, there's 9 letters or there's 9 words. We came up with, character with, for the first letter, which is who we are when nobody's watching, and humility, which is deflecting the spotlight. We tried to make up our own definitions that were, kind of concise and simple, and not necessarily what Webster's dictionary says. So character is who we are when nobody's watching, and humility is deflecting the spotlight, and accountability is pretty straightforward, and R is for relentless with and it's non-wavering each and every day. Loyalty, to everyone around us in the program. O is for opportunity, is in us being appreciative of the opportunity in front of us each and every day. Toughness is the first T, and that's pretty self-explanatory. Tenacity is the second one, and that's mental and physical fortitude. And then E is for enthusiasm, and just enthusiasm for the game, enthusiasm for putting the uniform on each and every day, and when people watch us play, they should see us play with enthusiasm. So that's essentially it. Those are the things we kind of talk about, and everything kind of starts there and then just kind of spreads throughout. So if we base our decisions on those things, like who we try to recruit to Charlotte and play baseball here, if they check those boxes, which the players that we talk about weekly on this podcast that we're so proud of, these guys that they check those boxes, they live it and they play by it, and that's probably something here year 4 that I'm really proud of, is that when people come watch us play, win, lose, or draw, that because I'll ask people close to me, it's like, even after a loss, it's like, and get some feedback, and it's just really important to me that win, lose, or draw, rain or shine, first game of the season, last game of the season, when people pay to come watch Charlotte 49er baseball, that they know that they're going to get something that is worth the time, the effort and energy to go watch, and something that everyone can be proud of.
Well, there you go. You just, if you were wondering, if you're one of those people, we'll post this in places where the online discussion was happening. But if you were wondering, what's that 9 ATC all about? Now you know. It doesn't get any clearer than that, does it, Kevin?
I think he covered it pretty well. Good story, Coach.
Yeah, appreciate you taking a few minutes to do that. You kind of bailed me out. I got kind of lazy because I looked all the way through that first interview. I thought it was in there. It wasn't. And I was about to start going, episode by episode looking for it. And I'm like, you know what? Let's just ask him to do it again. So There you go.
Well, essentially to sum it up, I mean, I've always been a believer, whether it was myself or players that I've coached or people that I've just been around. I've just always been a big believer that, you do your best work when you're passionate about something. And, I've been passionate about this city as long as I've been, since I was 4 years old, and I've been passionate about this university since Mike Hill gave me the opportunity to come be the head coach here. And just it's every day here is a lot of fun and a blessing. And, we just, we're passionate about it, and then, so it's important to me. It's important to me that anyone that, like I said, is whether you come see us play for one day or every day, that you can tell that we're playing for something bigger than ourselves.
Well, Coach, we always offer you the opportunity to have the last word, but I think you just kind of took it right there because I can't think of anything better, any better final comment than that. We've got a big week of baseball here, folks. Come out to the Hayes tomorrow. Actually, you can come to the Sioux tomorrow at 3 p.m. And check out, starting at 3 p.m. and check out the Diamond Niner gals playing Louisville, and then migrate right over to the Hayes to see North Carolina and Charlotte square off at 6 p.m. Make sure to bring plenty of layers because, well, it's going to be a little chilly. So bundle up appropriately. All right, folks, we're out of time for this week. Look for this podcast wherever you find your podcast. If you're watching us on YouTube, make sure to subscribe and click and turn on notifications to be notified of new content. You can also find Diamond Niner Report on social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, never TikTok. Reach out anytime you'd like. We love hearing from you. If you're old-fashioned like us, just say hello at the ballpark. For Kevin, producer Brad, and Coach Woody, this has been Nick. We're going to see you at the Hayes.
Go Niners.